Mystery at Blind Frog Ranch. The sky above Uinta Basin had turned a bruised shade of gray the morning they found the fissure. Not unusual weather, but the chill clung longer than it should have for late summer. Down on the ranch, everything had been humming toward season 4. The production trailers buzzed, drones drifted lazily above, and cameras were primed. But when Duane and his team returned from the southern edge of the property, pale and breathless, things changed. By sundown, filming had stopped entirely. The fissure had opened near the marshy edges of the pond, small at first, a crack hardly worth noting. But within hours, the ground had groaned, the earth heaving like a thing in pain. Trees tilted, cattails collapsed. A wide mouth had opened in the mud, and from its depths came the smell, sour, metallic, with a whisper of something rotting. No one had seen where the water went. Overnight, the pond dropped nearly 3 feet. The surface, usually thick with algae and insects, now sat glassy and wrong, as if something had drained its warmth and filled it with cold intent. The animals sensed it first. The horses refused to approach the fence line. Birds stopped calling. Coyotes that used to stalk the outskirts of the property fell silent, and the frogs, always a deafening chorus, had vanished. Not a croak remained. Duane ordered a halt to filming. But the crew was restless. A cameraman ventured out at dawn with a drone, hoping to get aerial footage of the collapse. The drone's feed cut out within seconds of flying over the fissure. When retrieved, its shell was warped, as though exposed to intense pressure, or something chewing from the inside out. Then came the dreams. One by one, those who had stepped near the pond began to suffer them. Visions of hands reaching up from brackish water, eyes in the deep, ancient and burning. A lighting technician quit without warning, driving through the night until his car spun off the road in a ditch 30 miles east. His dashboard camera showed static, then a moment of unmistakable clarity. A figure, tall and slick-skinned, standing in the road with too many joints and no face at all. No one could explain the dark liquid that oozed from the fence posts the next morning, or the bones, small, twisted, animal-like, found scattered along the muddy bank. Not bleached or weathered. Fresh. Despite pleas from the production team, Duane hired a geologist and a diver. They would descend into the pond, find the bottom of the fissure, and see if it connected to the caverns below. The diver, a Utah native named Callan, had done deep cave dives from Baja to Belize. He laughed when the crew warned him about the dreams. They stopped laughing when he didn't come back up. The rope went taut 40 minutes into the dive. No air bubbles surfaced. When they tried to haul him back, the line shredded like paper. A low hum rippled through the water, a vibration felt in bones rather than ears. Seconds later, the generator powering the lights exploded in a shower of sparks. The only thing that surfaced was Callan's dive light, crushed inward, as if by tremendous pressure from all directions, or a jaw. The authorities were notified, but the official search lasted less than a day. The recovery team refused to enter the water. The sheriff filed a single-page report citing a cave-in and probable drowning. Privately, he told Duane to seal the area and leave it alone. But the ground had begun to change. Small sinkholes dotted the property now, each one weeping thin black fluid with a smell like ancient copper. Trees grew twisted. The soil near the fissure was no longer stable. Equipment left out overnight came back rusted, even though the air was dry. Metal decayed faster than nature allowed. And then there were the prints. Wet, wide, and clawed, appearing around the pond with no source, too deep for an animal, too large for any human. One morning, Duane's son Chase woke up screaming. Not from a dream, but because his bed was wet. Not urine, mud. Cold, stinking pond mud. His feet were black to the ankles, though his door had never opened. When they checked the footage, the cameras had gone blank from 2:11 to 2:16 am, the same time Chase had bolted upright. The production company pulled the plug 2 days later. No final episode. No wrap party. The trailers were gone by sundown, their tires streaking the gravel like retreating prey. And yet, the ranch remained, as it always had. Quiet. Watching. Months passed. Rumors spread. Theories bloomed online. Some said it was the government, secret experiments, hidden portals. Others claimed it was connected to Skinwalker Ranch just 20 miles away. A subterranean network, a curse, a species. Duane never gave a statement. But those who lived nearby noticed something new. At night, the lights across the water glowed faintly, not lanterns or flashlights, but a slow, pulsing green, like the breath of the sound of splashing could be heard, followed by long silences, and then the distinct crunch of something dragging along the gravel. Some say the ranch is closed. Others claim it was never real. But anyone who's lived near the basin long enough knows better. Lined Frog Ranch remains, and the water has never been still. Last month, a pair of hikers went missing in the hills behind the ranch. Their bodies were found 2 days later, faces frozen in terror, skin marbled with black veins. The coroner cited extreme environmental exposure. It began with a vibration, so faint it might have been dismissed as the hum of distant thunder or the creak of settling earth. But the tremor was felt through the soles of boots, up through calves, into ribs. Cameras jittered, metal groaned. Somewhere deep beneath the Utah clay, something moved. The team had been preparing to open the season with a dramatic reveal, a newly discovered shaft uncovered by weeks of seismic mapping. The data had shown an impossibly straight tunnel running diagonally beneath the southern marshland. No known geology accounted for it. No mining records mentioned it. The team had assumed it to be a collapsed mine, until the drone footage of the area revealed something far stranger. Perfect circle, roughly 30 feet wide, had formed near the edge of the pond where cattails had grown thick just a week before. Now the reeds lay blackened and flattened, as if singed by heat. The water inside the circle was darker than the rest of the pond, so dark, in fact, that it swallowed sunlight without reflection. Initial sonar readings bounced back unreadable. Instruments fuzzed with static. Beneath the murk, the sound returned was wrong, thick with echoes that didn't match the underwater landscape. It was less like sound bouncing off a solid surface and more like sound being absorbed. A diver was sent in, an ex-Navy contractor with years of experience in low visibility and cave systems. He lasted 6 minutes when he surfaced. His eyes were wide, his breath short, his body trembling. No visible injuries. No memory of what he'd seen. His wrist hammer was gone. The crew later found deep grooves in the waterproof strap. Something had pulled it off. The only thing he said before going silent was a whisper. It looked back. That night, the frogs stopped croaking. At first, the crew joked about the silence. Frogs had always been background noise at the ranch, deafening in the evening, rhythmic and predictable. But now the wetlands sat in a hushed vacuum, not even an insect's chatter. The horses began to whine in their stalls. Cameras placed near the pond began to flicker with bursts of static. Time-stamped footage revealed strange glitches, frames missing, lights flickering, and in one case, an entire 10-minute segment replaced with pitch blackness. The text dismissed it as magnetic interference. Then the lights in the control trailer began to pulse. Not flicker, pulse. In unison, like breath. And that smelled rot. Not sulfur. Something older. Copper, wet stone, and the sharp tang of electricity just before a lightning strike. It emanated from the pond, creeping into boots, clinging to fabrics, souring food. The scent worsened after a second drone was sent into the water. It vanished 20 feet below the surface. 3 hours later, it surfaced again, without its rotors. Its camera feed was intact, though scrambled. The footage, when cleaned up, revealed something impossible. Hundreds of tiny pale shapes writhing near the pond's floor. Not fish, not eels, each roughly the size of a forearm. Smooth, boneless, their movements erratic, swarming in spirals toward the drone like metal filings drawn to a magnet. Then the frame blurred, twisted, and showed one clear image before blackness, something vast beneath them, covered in chitinous plates, shifting slowly in the dark. The shape of an eye, the size of a dinner plate. Closed. Then, opening. They shut down production within 24 hours. No fanfare. No announcement. The trailers emptied. The crew scattered. A clause in their contracts forbade them from discussing what they'd seen. But rumors leaked.